Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're all amazing and having a good time. Now, I'm very, very glad to be with you in this very public workshop about how to build a professional portfolio as a freelance web developer. As Edric pointed out, my name is Dawar Karim. I'm Employment's Partnership Manager here in Recorded. Uh, Despite my experience as employment partnership managers, I have been freelancer myself for more than 2 years. So all the topics that you see today are very reflected in my own personal life as a freelancer. And I hope that this presentation will bring some value to your life and to your career path and the career approaches that you're taking now and in the very close future. So let's start off by something very funny and surprising for me. This is something I was not expecting to get. And so let's start off as an appetizer for the word freelancer. And it's very interesting to feel that the freelancer word actually been used throughout 16th and 17th century. It's not a new topic. It's not a new concept, actually. So there is a Scottish writer. His name is Sir Walter Scott Avonhout. He's a novelist. So for the very first time in the English literature, he has used this word. And the root of this word gets back to a group of fighters and knights who are actually fighting based on who would pay them more. So the word lance is actually that long tool that you can see in the hand of this fighter. This is called lance. And lancer is someone who's holding that weapon and fights in an army. The word freelancer means that they have no bias and they have, they don't belong to any army, but they fight for any side who pays them the more. So actually, the word freelancer is a very old word used in old word that has been used throughout the history. And this gets back to the 18th century and was referred to medieval mercenary who would fight for whichever nation or person paid them the most. And it's very, very relevant, right? It's very self-explanatory. Whoever paid more, they fought for them. And this is a very true scenario for a freelancer. Whoever pays you more for your skill, you definitely go with that client. So that was a very quick appetizer on the word freelancer. And next time that word comes out, it's very important for us to know that this is not a new concept. This has been around throughout the history. And now we are adapting it to a totally new concept within our career path. So I'll move on to today's agenda. And before I dig down to the details of the agenda, I really love the session to be very, very engaging. So this is why you see 3 activities embedded in the entire agenda. So I highly recommend you guys to be as engaging as possible throughout the activities with us. So the session would not be very boring, only me talking. It would be more of an interaction, an engaging session in which everyone transforms their experience to the other one. And that way, we guarantee we get most out of the topic and we get most out of each other's experience to further understand the topic. So the very first part I go through, so we talked about the old definition for freelancer. What's the modern definition of a being freelancer? That's the very first part. The second part is why to be a freelancer at the very first place. What are the potentials behind being a freelancer? And then we'll do a small little activity. So we exchange some points of view. And then we get to the core of the workshop, the professional freelance web developer. What are the characteristics and how we can develop those characteristics to a point that we can proudly and confidently name ourselves as professional freelance web developers. And then we do another activity to further embed those concepts into an actual, actual activity so that we can further understand it and digest it. And then at the fourth section, we talk about the factors. In the fifth section, we talk about the strategies and the ways to implement those factors. And then we will do another activity, and then we will wrap up the workshop. So basically, we go through 3 parts, as you can see, a quick definition and potentials, and what are the factors to be professional, and how we can implement those factors. This would be the core of today's workshop. So I hope you guys enjoy, and bear with me, please be engaging throughout the activity so we get most out of each other's experience. Moving on to the very modern definition for a freelancer. So it's very crucial for everyone who's doing something to be very familiar with what is the exact definition and what are other similar components to that, so they can differentiate what they are doing and what they are not doing actually. So a freelancer takes on short to medium term work for one or a number of companies. So it's a short term or medium term. We don't go into a long term. So the moment that we go into a long term, we become part-time or full-time employees. So there are two characteristics I really want you to identify. First, it's either short term or long term. The second one is for one or more companies, right? So the time interval is either short or medium. That's the first characteristics. The second characteristic is that you can work for multiple clients simultaneously. So if you have any job that these two criteria could be implemented on, that job could be considered as freelancing. So it's very important to know the exact definition, because as we talk about the details later, so we know we clearly differentiate between a freelancer and the other parts, which might be a part-time or full-time job. So in that case, we would be arguing about freelancing or employment, permanent employment. Okay, so that was the very quick definition. I will go to the potentials. This is very crucial for you to ask yourself the very first place. Why do I want to freelance? Why do I want to be a freelance software developer or freelance web developer? So these are very general guidelines that really give you the overview of the potentials that for you to go to be a freelancer. So the very first point that you might all be familiar with is you have more flexible working hours, because you're not committing to an office work. You're not committing to specific working schedule, meaning that you are more flexible in working. And this really, later I will talk about this, this really gives you the benefit of more efficiency, less distractions, and eventually more profits. And that was the very first point. It gives you the time that you're more flexible with your life. You have more time to deal with your life, less distractions, more of a productivity and efficiency. And this is a very, very crucial point to have an eye on. The second potential, it's a shortage in the market. So based on data, and you can see the quote actually, based on the data from a Career Foundry, there is a huge shortage of web developers worldwide. In 2020, an estimated of 1 million software developer roles went unfilled in the tech industry. So to be very, very specific for web development in the digital economy, there is 1 million software developer roles unfilled, meaning that this is the general data talking about web development. But if we have 1 million gap, 1 million positions open in 2020, meaning that for you to be freelancing and to specialize in web development, there is definitely a high chance of getting what you want out of your career. So you're not going toward the market that's strictly filled and very, very full of competition and full of competitors. You are facing a market that is very, very wide and flexible and open for your skill, which is web development in that case. The third point is that freelancers tend to make more money. This is a bold claim, but if you think about it, like if you digest other points that we already talked about, as you freelance, you don't admit to an office. Let's talk about an ideal way in which you are a full-time web developer in an office. You don't admit and you don't, attend an office work every day, meaning that you would be spending less money on transportation and a lot of costs. Second, when you go to your work environment, because you're freelancing, you're doing the time, you're based on your own time, you're scheduling your work. You don't go to a place that you're surrounded with other employees, so you would not be distracted. And third, as your time is more flexible, you can manage it in a way that you have some space in your life, maybe for other activity, that generates revenue. So overall, if you compare a full-time web developer in an office, permanent employee, compared to one who's a freelancing, so the freelancer tends to make more money. And the mechanism is not through the payment, it's through the less costs and less distraction, more efficiency. So overall, if you calculate all these reasons, you get to a conclusion that freelancers eventually and permanently will make more money compared to their counterparts as a part-time or full-time employees. This one is my favorite, the potential of being freelancer. I've it was about 2 years I was working as a full stack web developer. This is a very personal experience. I really love this point, and I really want us to concentrate on this. When you work as an employee, or maybe as a full-time or part-time employee for a company, you don't get to choose the projects that you work on. And sometimes, as you work for the company, you would be forced to work in specific projects. And sometimes these projects are not reflecting your own ideology. You're not reflecting your own interest. You're not interested in that topic. You don't like that. You feel like there's a big flaw in the business model. You definitely feel that this project is going to fail, but you don't have other choice because you're, committing to work in a company. The company has its own standards and work. So eventually you end up sometimes working in a project that you don't like, you have zero interest in the topic. However, as a freelancer, you barely face this because at the very first place, you pick the topic or you pick the work that you really want to go to. And this is something that I would consider it as a blessing. I really want every one of us to have a very valuable eye on this point because I personally suffered, and eventually me working on projects that are not they were not reflecting my interest. I ended up me resigning and quitting that company because I was constantly and continuously forced to work on projects that I had zero interest on. And as you get to a project with zero interest, I mean, it's very obvious that you're not ending up having productive, efficient results while you work. So the fourth point is very, very important. As a freelancer, you have ultimate freedom on picking one project that you want to go to, and that's something very, very valuable. The fifth one is also very, very important, very crucial. If you have two competitors, let's say if you have two people, one of them is freelancing, the other one is a long, full-time employee in a company, the freelancer tends to build better and stronger and sustainable portfolio compared to the one that's a long-term or part-time employee, part-time on full-time employee. Why? Because due to having the ability to work with multiple clients at the very same time. So freelancers are very open, are very free to work simultaneously on different projects at the very same time. And this really gives them the power of building better portfolio faster and more sustainable because they pick the topic and they can work with multiple clients at the very same time, which is not true for a part-time or full-time employee. So the point 5 is also very crucial. Freelancers tend to build stronger portfolio. And that's something in my experience. You can think about people surround you. If you have the software developers surround you, those who are freelancing, they tend to be more professional. They tend to be technically more equipped compared to the ones that work in part-time and full-time positions in a company, because freelancers have massive exposure for different projects, different techniques, and different clients at the very same time. However, that process is very, very, very slow when you are a part-time or a full-time employee in a company. The last one is more focused. This is a very personal thing that I previously also pointed out, is that once you work for a company, imagine you're going to an office, because you're surrounded with a lot of people, you get very, very distracted. So efficiency decreases. As efficiency decreases, the productivity as well decreases. So the overall quality will not satisfy the need that you are intending to build, actually. And that was my kind of struggle, because I'm very, very extroverted. And whenever I've worked for a company that's surrounded with a lot of colleagues and friends, I always get distracted. Because that's of my nature. As I work for a while, I love to talk to people. And as I talk to people, this takes lots of time. And at the end of the day, I end up producing very little compared to what I intended to produce throughout the day. So overall, like in the quote, it says, you would not be distracted with hearing about your colleague's favorite TV show. So it's only you You manage your time, you manage your power, your energy that you have. So overall, as a freelancer, you're more focused. These 6 points are very, very general overviews of answering the question why to be freelance or why to go with freelance. I'm not arguing that freelancing is better or part-time is better. That's totally up to you. But since we're talking about building a portfolio, a strong portfolio as a freelance software developer, it's very important for you to be able to answer that question whenever somebody asks you why you are freelancing. And these 6 would definitely contribute to that and gives you a better overview on it. So moving on to our very first activity. I will put a link for a Google Doc in the chat. I really want you to write down your name or any freelance experience that you might have. So we will take about 5 minutes to write down the experiences, and now we will talk about 5 minutes to go over each other experience, so that we get more of a overview on how we can further understand the freelancing from each other points of view. So I will stop sharing for a second, and I will paste a link in the chat. As you get to the link, please go to that Google Doc and please feel free to write down any experience that you might have as freelancer. Just write down your name, and just give us a very quick hint if you've ever worked as a freelancer, so we tend to understand freelancing experience from each other's point of view. Let me go to the document and share with you some experiences from the participants here today with us for a freelancing. So that gives us an overview, because later we need that part in which it guides us through the process of starting the freelancing. So because later we talk about how we start and how we're going to build portfolio. So we have Haris. Haris says that, so he has built an accounting program with Excel and VBA with data entry and translation. So Haris during his freelancing time, he has built an accounting application, which is very phenomenal, and huge shout out to you. Gilles says that he has built 2 projects with Computer Institute in Suleimani using React. So it seems that while Gilles was a student, he worked on building application, which is amazing. And I personally built an online platform called Wanakan while I was still studying at the university. And Hassan says that he has developed website for his clients. And Bella talks about an application similar to Moodle for, okay, that's nice. Bala has developed an learning management to his university as a freelance project, which is very, very amazing. And we have Karwan. He says he's done a little mini project, not freelancing yet. And we have Ron C, who has built a loyalty app. And we have Sako Sudoku game, and Ahmed Star listing his projects. And yeah, so these were a simple little project. Thank you very much, guys, for the activity. So the point of that activity was to get you to understand the fact that freelancing is something very natural, is something very easy already. Some of you have started it, and it's very crucial to have the expectations right. It's only that to put into a perspective that freelancing is for everyone. Everyone can do that based on your life, your interests, your hobbies. You can start freelancing and you can build a strong career around what you have. Okay, that was amazing. Let's move on to the core of today's workshop. What are the must-haves for you to be called a professional freelancer? So in the activity, we found out that some of us already started freelancing, different projects, mini projects, micro projects. But it's very essential for us to know that when can we consider ourselves as professional freelancers? So we attract customers, we attract clients. So we be very confident to move forward with our clients and believing in our skills. I will start with the letter B. I really want you to remember this letter because we have three letters that are very crucial in today's public workshop. The letter B is your basket. You should have something in your basket. You cannot be called a professional freelancer just only by knowing the technical skill. It's very important. I repeat that again because I really want to concentrate on this. It's very important to have something in your basket. Just only having the skill is not gonna make you a professional freelancer. Having a strong portfolio is the strongest marketing tool that you can use it compared to all other marketing channels, meaning that just having a strong portfolio is enough for you just to do marketing for you. And this is a quote from freelancer.com, which I really, really love. It says, potential clients will get along better with freelancer who is not all about the positive while trying to hide details. Besides, explaining what you went wrong gives you the opportunity to prove you how to fix things and overcome troubles. Remember, so you have a basket as a freelance web developer, and that basket should be filled off with projects that show your expertise, that makes you make mistakes throughout the process in order to further develop the skill and understand the project more. So once you approach your client, as it's stated in freelancer.com, once you approach your client should have an image of you that you've already worked with multiple projects, that you're very confident with your skill. If you go to your client without having anything in your basket, it's very less likely to be able to call a professional freelancer. So I want you to remember the letter B, because later we talk about how we try to build more upon this. Letter B is your basket. Please remember this. The second letter is N, is your niche. Well, the world of software development and freelancing is a very, very wide world, meaning that you have a lot to work with. And as things get very, very complicated, specification and getting specialized in one area is your niche, is your key to be called professional, is your key to attract clients and customers who are really following your particular skill. It's like you don't ever just want to be the developer I know. However, I really want you to be an expert developer for solving a particular problem. So at the very first point, we talked about that you have to have something in your basket. The second point is that it's not just only you filling out your basket with projects. It's more of a you be very expert, you be very specialized in solving a particular set of problems. So as you know, that it's very, very general when you come up to the world of software development. If you don't specialize, it's very less likely to be called a professional software developer. So finance applications, procurement application, custom website design, performance tuning, you have to find your niche. You have to find your niche that you elaborate more on that. And that way you differentiate yourself from a typical normal freelancer to an expert freelancer in a specific field. And later I will talk more about how you can get to that point. But it's very crucial for you to be able to specialize, and becoming known as the solution to a particular set of problems is crucial to your freelance career. So you need to be willing to differentiate and then lock it on. So I want you to think about it in a way that you develop projects or you develop your skills around a particular problem. So whenever that problem comes up, you would be one of the best alternatives to go to and to consult and let you develop or work in specific market that you want to work in. So again, say it again, your niche is your expertise. You have to find your expertise in particular set of problems so you further dig down into being more professional into your career. So moving on to another quick activity that we have. every one of us who's here now is very familiar with freelancing, with the concept of development. And besides that, all of us have a dream that we would be expertise in a particular set of problem or be expert in a particular set of field. I will share another link very similar to the previous activity. I want you to write down your name and let me know what expertise, if you close your eyes after maybe a year after developing your skill in your ideal world, what are the expertise and what are the field that you want to be known for? And this activity, guys, is very, very crucial because we tend to exchange more ideas and we tend to widely think of the concept of specialization in particular field. I will stop sharing and I will copy another link. So we exchange some points of view on different expertise on how we can develop those expertise. And I really recommend every one of us to participate and have an input on that, because most of us, I'm pretty sure, that still don't know what are their expertise. So this would really contribute to helping all of us to further understand what kind of field we want to go to. Okay, amazing, amazing. I really love this activity. What we see, the very first impression that we get from the expertise is that we have to be able to differentiate between specific framework and technology and specific field. So once you tell me that I want to specialize in backend, this is not a field. Okay, so the backend itself is a framework. The backend itself is a set of skills. For you to focus on our field, we have very good examples. For example, we have Ola. Also, he says he wants to work in finance sector. So your development, backend and frontend, is the tool, is the skill. The other thing that you really want to focus on and concentrate on and be very specialized in should be a different field, a different kind of environment that contributes, uses this skill to further elaborate on that. For example, we have, like I said, we have Hares. He talks about he wants to be expert in administration and HR, which is phenomenal. That's an amazing example. And we have Yasser, who talks about he wants to be data analysis and he loves automation. That's also another very amazing example. And we have software. Yeah, we have Ismail, who wants to be a software development in a fintech field. So it's very important when we talk about the niche, we don't talk about the set of frameworks and languages that you're using. Either it's a front end, back end, or maybe which programming language, React or Flutter or anything. We don't talk about this. We talk about a specific field in the market that you can use this tool to further automate, to further bring efficiency, to further sell. So it's very important to set the expectations right for you to be able to find your niche, is because we as software developers, we always deal with the market, we always deal with a real life example. It's very important to know that when we talk about the niche, we're talking about specific area in the market that we can contribute to. So thank you very much for the activity. So I'm pretty sure that you have a better image on what do we mean by you have to find your niche. You have to find the aspect of the market that you should use your freelancing or software development skill to innovate in. Okay, so we went with B, the basket. We went with N, the niche, and then we go to P. And remember, guys, these are not something that maybe you have different points of view, but that's fine. But this is throughout my research and my very personal experience. This point, some of you may not agree with me, but that's fine. But this really, really boosts your freelancing level to a totally new innovative way. It's your platform. So I believe that any professional freelancer should be able to develop a specific platform right for them, a platform that's entirely been built for them, so that really talks on behalf on their skills and expertise that they have. So the platform, meaning that build something small like this. You don't build it for a specific client and customer. You build it for the public. You build it for people to have an exposure. You build it for people to use it. So this try to solve a public problem or serve people, just put it there. That really contributes a lot to reaching your name to a lot of people as a very professional software developer and as a freelancer as well. And that really helps you to create a brand for yourself. And the publicizes it by owner of your solution, meaning that as you get a problem and you find a solution for that and you put it in the market, people use it, people try to benefit of it, and they definitely give the credit to the writer and developer of that platform. I would really admire you to focus on an idea to solve a public problem and invest your skills in building a small platform that later could be referred back for you as the owner and as a developer. So now we had N, we had B, your basket, and we had N, your niche, and we had P, which is your platform. NBP. So now the last activity that we have, so before moving on how we further try to embed this B and N and P in our career, we would do our last activity about, I really want you to focus on a problem that you really want to solve. And this really is tightly connected with you, your imagination, for you to think of a platform that you can build later and would be very strong part of your portfolio. I will share the last link. Bear with me if my activities are a little bit overwhelming, but this is the last one. And I get to the detail of how we can implement B and N and P. So I would put the last link. And I really want you to be descriptive as possible. What kind of problem you are into it to solve it? What kind of problem you face every day you face it and you want to solve it, because this really helps you to have a bigger imagination on building your own platform. So any problem that you face on a daily basis, that's a chance for you to build something around it, to find a solution for that. And throughout our bootcamp, all the capstone projects are nearly the problems that fellows were facing, and they tried to come up with a solution to. So write down any day-to-day problem that you feel like you hate it, you don't like it, and you want to solve it. And that thing is a gate for you to build your own platform. That's a gate for you to be able to serve a community and build a platform to further enrich your freelance experience. Okay, amazing. Very cool ideas and problems. And remember, guys, each problem that's listed in here could be a chance for you to develop a platform, a public platform around it, and get all the credits to you and serve a society and build a very strong marketing tool for yourself. So let's very quickly go over them. I have very interesting ideas. Ali says he wants to build a platform for people with no programming experience to be able to develop further programming, that's a phenomenal project. I highly recommend you, Ali, to go to it and start building around that project. And Ola Osa says he wants to build, he or she, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. They want to build a software that solves financial management issues and financial management and tracking. Amazing. That's an amazing idea. And I personally always have problem finding free car parking slots, and I wish that in a very close future I get to develop a software around it to help people to have less parking issues. And Rawan says, Omar says he wants to digitize the government's procedure. That's an amazing one. Bala says he or she wants to solve a problem for people throwing away trash. So basically that would be a recycling idea, which is amazing. And Sarah talks about a warehouse management system. Thank you very much for all these very valuable insights. Guys, all these problems that we face on a daily basis, and these are something that we are interested in, could become a very amazing source for our inspiration to build our own platform. So as we build a platform, we serve people, we further develop our technical skills, and that platform would definitely echo out and shout out all the credits and energy to us as the developer. So B, N, P. You should have something in the basket. You have to be able to find your niche, and somehow you should be able to develop a platform that would be publicly accessed. And those three things would definitely contribute to you to be called a professional freelance developer. So moving on to B, how we can implement B, how we can start building our projects for our basket. If you don't have anything in your basket, that's fine. These are the tips. Start for free. Let's create something for free for someone. I mean, you have to start in a point, right? If you don't have something in your basket and you really want to be a professional freelance developer, start something for free. So an example that I have is I always give it to everyone because I personally did it. Go to your closest shop or warehouse, any place around you, to start developing a software to them just for free, because you have to have something in your basket, and that would be your initial point of. If you can't do that, just partner with someone. Find a friend who's working in a project, or partner with someone who's already working. Try get your hands dirty with your very initial and starting point of your project. Because like I said, B is that for you to be able to call a professional web developer, freelance web developer, you have to have something in your basket. And if partnering is not something you're interested in, just reverse engineer something. Look for a platform that you're interested in and recreate it yourself. You created yourself, just do modifications around it. Maybe create your own kind of Instagram. Maybe you create your own version of Facebook. You create your own version of any platform that you're interested in. And that way you can get over the problem of not having anything in your basket. These three hints could definitely help you overcome that problem that you have. And for niche, how you find something that you really want to deal with it for all of your life, how you want to be something that you be identified for as the survivor, as a problem solver for that set of problem. Just think about what you're good at. You can create and build portfolio around it. Think of something that you're interested in. Think of something that you're good at. If you're good at math, go to financials. If you're good in graphics, go to applications that uses animation and graphics. So for you to develop that set of skill, for you find your niche, is you have to think of something that you're good at and you love to do, and build around that. And that's your own key for you to build and find your niche. For your own platform, building your own platform, I know this is a little bit, for some of you, maybe a little bit overwhelming and feel like I don't have specific, my technical skills are not that good, but start doing it. It's not going to be very difficult and very, very challenging. Solve a problem. Just like the activity we did. On your day-to-day basis, when you face problem, any problem would be a very good imagination for you to build a platform around. If you don't have that thing yet, there's a market research. Figure out, ask people, just what are the problems? I mean, ask them what would be an ideal solution they are looking for, and that would be a very good key for you to build a platform for a public, for everyone to use. And that, or create a brand. Maybe this is sometimes you don't go to a specific problem, or maybe you don't get to work with a problem, but you can still build your own personal brand, because remember, personal brands are really working well, and just at least build something that people will be attracted to. So maybe this is very crucial to the fact that as you build a platform, like I previously said, you get all the credit. For example, it's like if you hire Mark Zuckerberg, you mean, like, imagine a scenario in which you want to hire Mark Zuckerberg. Who's Mark Zuckerberg? You don't need to see any CV. He's the founder of Facebook. So there is something that does the marketing for him. There is something that has become a symbol, has become the milestone in his life. So he would be identified with all of his skills. And so very, very quickly, getting to those 3 points, B, N, P. These 3 points will really help you to be called a professional freelance web developer. And other factors besides B and P, these are some general guidelines that you can follow to further enrich the concept of professionalism inside your career for a freelance software developer. Is that create your own personal brand, have your own logo, have your own design elements and taglines. This especially on your social media accounts, this would definitely contribute to more of your professionalism. Second is you should have your own online portfolio, like we always teach it in our workshop in career service. Your website just includes details, hyperlinks, and demonstrations. Just put your GitHub, social media references, and people's reference, detailed contact information of people who you work to. This is also very crucial because you cannot be called a professional freelance web developer unless you have an online portfolio in which people refer back to. And just master social media. Use LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram for whenever you finish a project, just post about it. Talk about what problem you solve. Just have a design and have a case study. Case study is a detailed explanation of the entire process. Just put it there for people to look at and know you with your skill. And use the power of hashtags as well. And word of mouth. This is also very, very crucial. Talk about your skill with your network. Go to networking events. Talk about your skills with everyone. So everyone becomes very familiar with the concepts and skills and the projects that you are doing. So besides the NBP, these 4 factors also contribute a lot to your professionalism throughout your career as being professional freelance software developer. So finishing up very, very quickly. We talked about the factors why you want to work as freelancer and the potentials. And the last word I would say, because I'm running out of time, I want to keep it very short and have some time for Q&A as well. Do not ever feel unprofessional about being freelancer, because freelancers are predicted to make up more than half of the workforce across all industries by 2020. And this data is according to Forbes. So never underestimate the potential of being freelancer, and never try to have an imagination or people tell you that freelancing is not important, is not that important. Just go do something else. If you feel like freelancing is something that you really want to go to, please go to, because according to this data that we have, up to more than half of the workforce is freelancing. So freelancing is very legit, very formal, very professional to deal with. And thank you very much for listening. I'm sorry, I know I finished on time, but we were supposed to finish a little bit earlier for Q&A, but still I think we can make it for Q&A. And thank you very much for being with me in this session. And Edric, let's open Q&A.
Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out and staying tight. It looks like we have a couple of questions already. And so we'll start with Abdulaziz.
Hello, is my voice coming through?
Yes.
Okay, great. First of all, thank you very much for the slides and the presentation, Dawar. That was very beneficial and informative. I have a question regarding building your niche, where basically you were saying that you have to find an area that you brand yourself as being specialized in. But my question is, wouldn't that actually make you miss out on other offers and other areas of specialization where you could actually fulfill the requirements of that offer, but simply because you're branding yourself as somebody who's not who's specialized in something else, you wouldn't be picked for that offer, and therefore you'd be missing on offers in other areas of specialization?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very smart question. I would say throughout the process of freelancing, for you to be more efficient, you have to specialize, because at the beginning, it's fine. Maybe you're just starting your freelancing and you want to experiment with different projects, with different specialties and different needs. But throughout your process, like we talked about, freelance clients are more attracted to freelancers who are specializing in certain area of work. And that's something I personally go to always. If I have a software that, for example, if it's a financial application, I definitely go to someone who's already dealt with finances and numbers. But I would say that's a very smart question. At the very beginning of your process, for the sake of experiment, it's fine to go with different areas of expertise, but eventually you specializing specific kind of niche or specific area will definitely give you more advantage and will be leading to more professionalism. And I hope that answered your question. And thank you very much for the question.
That definitely answered it. Thank you very much, Dor.
Yeah, I'll just add really quickly that you can think of it as either going really wide or going really deep, right? Just by choosing a niche, you're actually opening up a lot of opportunities for you within a particular sector, because as Dawar mentioned, right, you're attracting people who are looking for a very specific thing. Once you build that kind of name for yourself, you become even more attractive to those kinds of people who are looking for someone with that expertise. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to close yourself off to other opportunities as they come your way, but it does mean that you have a little bit more opportunity when it comes to really focusing in and collecting everyone who might want to be looking for a financial management system, or everyone who might be looking for a logistics system. And so with that, Adi, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. It was really beneficial. I'm currently like caught up between making two decisions. I don't know what to do between like developing my own personal brand and developing a startup company, tech startup company. Which one would you recommend and why? Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. Well, answering this is, I would say this is more of a personal kind of choice you go to. There is no right and wrong in between. But what I'm assuming and what I'm thinking of always, like I said, the sample of Mark Zuckerberg is very, very, for example, you want to hire Mark Zuckerberg. Who is Mark Zuckerberg? He's the founder of Facebook. So the Facebook is the thing that gives the power to Mark. Otherwise, Mark is just another developer like everyone out there. So I would definitely, if I were you, I would definitely keep an eye on a personal branding, because the personal branding thing is a very long-term process, meaning that eventually you should go to, I mean, you have to build something. So if you, the earlier starting the process, it would be better. But like I said, there is no right and wrong in both decisions. It's just a matter of personal choice.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for coming to our workshop today. We really, really appreciate you being here, and we hope that you learned something for your own freelancing career. I think no matter what, freelancing is a journey, right? And it's not something that is going to happen overnight for anyone. And I think that, as Dawar mentioned, there's so many different considerations to have in mind and really setting yourself up for success, right? It's a long-term journey. There's so many things to build up in your basket, and identifying really where your interests and where your strengths are. And so as with a lot of career preparation, freelancing starts with a lot of that reflection that also needs to happen in terms of what you want from this experience. And otherwise, please stay tuned. We have a lot of boot camps and small workshops and long workshops and events coming up in the future. And we really hope to see a lot of you there in future programs. But with that, Dawar, any last words that you want to leave everyone with?
No, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for listening.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next time.